Turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the teacher. Turn to the
And welcome back. I'm Mike with the Turntable Teachers, and class is back in session. Here for another guest speaker episode at AOA Studios. If you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to check us out at aoastudios.org to book your session or service today. We actually got a session going on in the background here. You guys might hear a little bit of it. Hopefully it won't bleed in too much, but I have a very special guest next to me to my right. He does quite a bit out here in the scene. He's a vocalist. He's a multi-instrumentalist, a producer, a podcaster. We love multi-talented people on the Turntable Teachers, and you definitely fit that bill. Please welcome Most Generous to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me here.
Of course, man.
You know, I got my gang here too. I got Cheesy.
Yeah, you spoiled it. Cheesy and Tata. The Cheesy Tata. We were laughing about that over here. Well, they're going to join us pretty soon too to talk about show and tell, which I'm excited for that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So this is actually a little bit of a different episode for Turntable Teachers, because obviously normally we just have a guest. Normally people don't just jump on the podcast, but today we're going to have a little bit of a different thing going. So we're excited for that. And but first we're going to talk to you first about Most, about your music background and everything you got going on, and then we'd love to talk to obviously your co-host on the podcast, and so that'll be a fun time. But we always start with the objective when we get to know a little bit about you and your background. That's the first segment of the show.
Yep.
And you growing up in Dorchester, right? So, and being the multi-talented, multi-instrumentalist type person that you are, I'm just so curious about where you. I don't want to ask like where you got your start, but I'm curious more or less of like what aspect of musicality did it start for you? Was it the vocally? Was it just picking up instruments first? Was it producing? And then which one do you maybe gravitate more towards now in like your adult years?
So I gravitate towards producing, because I love to work with. I like to make different music of different genres, and I love to send it as a demo to different artists. Like, hey, try this out, and most of the time they like it. But originally, I'd say when I was younger, I was very I loved being able to use my imagination to be able to express myself. So when I was in middle school, I used to go to Jackson Man, and Jackson Man, a lot of friends I know now, I grew up with them in that school, and I had a music teacher. She taught me everything I needed to know about vocal arrangements and sopranos and singing with falsetto. And I was a little bit shy because I just didn't like being around people, and I was just very insecure. But eventually there was a talent show, and I wore sunglasses to kind of like not be distracted by so many people, because I can lose my focus and all that with my ADHD and all that. And after that, so I sang 2 Stevie Wonder songs. So everybody say yeah.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense with the glasses, right?
Right.
I mean, that was pretty on brand for you, based with the look. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, oh man, yes, it was perfect. And I sang also I wish those days could come back once more. I forgot that song. I think it's called. Yeah, it's a great song. It's so crazy how I don't remember the song, but yeah, everybody was blown away that night, and ever since then, they always call me Little Stevie. Like, yo, what's good, Little Stevie? What's good, Stevie? And yeah,
awesome.
Ever since then, yeah, but it didn't take me till I'd say my teenage years, when I was 16, 17. Because I moved around a lot. See, I was born in Framingham, but I grew up in Dorchester around 2002, 2003. But I moved to Florida with my dad around 2000, I'd say 2006, 2007. I was staying there for about 4.5 years. And within that 4.5 years, I moved around a lot. So I lost friends, made new friends. I had to go to like 4 to 5 different high schools. Damn. It was just like, it started to take a toll on me. And I met, along the lines, I met a few friends who introduced me to hip hop and introduced me to like Mac Miller and Joey Badass. and J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and from there I was just drawn to like this type of just the music, and it inspired me to just like write and journal. But I didn't take rapping serious because I thought it was cool, but it's like I didn't take it. There was no point me taking serious. There was no opportunities down in the South. There was no opportunities in Florida for me, and I had to decide if I wanted to stay in Florida or move to New Mexico with my dad that time. And I was like, nah, like I want to go back home. So went back up to Boston, 2012, I think. And then I had to finish high school. So I went to Boston Community Leadership Academy and graduated in 2014. And there was a program that I was a part of. It's like the PIG program. It helped me. They helped me transition into either getting a job and or finding like a place where I can be able to express myself. And I was able to find a job. I was working at Bank of America, but also on the side, since I was still young, I joined youth programs. So I was with High Square Task Force and JP, and a friend, one of my classmates, Justin Rojas. Shout out to Justin, by the way. He was a producer. I didn't know he was a producer, but he was very like musically inclined, and I just liked the way it reminded me like his production style. It reminded me of Jay Dilla, Ninth Wonder, and I was just like drawn to it because that's one of my influences. That's who I listen to, especially like Common too. So yeah, like we had like a rapport. We still talk to this day, and ever since then he's been helping me with just like my projects too. But yeah, my journey was just like, it was crazy because 2015 was the start. It was the genesis of me taking my artistry serious, because I was around like a group of my friends who, some of them were krumpers, some of them were rappers too, and they all did different disciplines of art, and it just made me it gave me just opportunity. It gave me more space to grow, and also gave me challenges. So I was like, yeah, I think I could do this. And I had to prove myself every time that I can do this. And over time, yeah, like I got to the point where I want to be able to do different genres now. Like I like R&B. I want to be in touch with my soft side. And I want to be able to also work with people who are, singers, because singers, they know how to bring out the most fervent sides of like what you thought that you never really understood in the human soul. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know if that explains everything.
I think that was a pretty good.
Yeah.
You gave us a pretty good rundown of that. One thing that you mentioned that I would love to harp on a little bit further towards the end there was like the idea of community building, because it's super important, I think, when you get into something that's creative like music, where it's almost essential to be around other creatives and to really to get that inspiration and to see maybe how things could be done in a different way. Versus with yourself, I feel like you can be so, sometimes if you just make music by yourself or you just do something creatively by yourself, like, yeah, there's other things you can learn, but it just is a better way to do it, I think, when you're doing it with a larger group or even just a couple of collaborators, right? Like that's, I think, the beauty of music. It's supposed to be a collaborative effort. It's supposed to be something that people can share and enjoy together and experience together. And then, yeah, maybe something that you make, maybe, if I listen to it, maybe I take something a little bit different away from it than you anticipated or what your intention was. But that's, again, the beauty of interpretation when it comes to music too. And I think that that's like, it's got to be the same way when you're creating it, right? Whereas like you hear a certain thing, hear a certain, sound or whatever, and maybe like one artist wants to go in one direction and one wants to go in the other, but it somehow cohesively fits. So I think that that's super important too. And like to your point of growth and sort of everyone kind of bringing some type of different talent or expertise or knowledge to the table that really I think helps cultivate, you know, each of those people that's in that space. So
Yes.
yeah.
And it's also like just like the beauty of not just that, but the beauty of subjectivity, because of art and its range of just subjectivity.
Mm-hmm.
You can be able to stretch and morph and prefer different types of aspects of art that you thought that you could never reach. You know,
100%.
there's 88 compositions in the keys. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's you know what I'm saying? Like that all has, all of it you can find correlation to,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about alchemy and chemistry too. Like, because you don't want to just work with everything. You don't want to just work with everybody. You know, because sometimes, you know, the chemistry is not going to be there. It's
True.
not going to be harmonious.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to force things. That's why I kind of like to be, you know, to lay back, or I like to be underground, because sometimes the best and the rawest materials are underground.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I like to be. I love it there. So it's like, but at the same time, when it comes to like working with people who have that chemistry, like for instance, like Kareem, you know what I'm saying? Like we
Yeah.
have a neo soul duo called The Groovement, and our first album we put out is Geises, and it's kind of it's like a play off of Aquemini from Outkast, because like he's a
One of
Gemini.
my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, I look at mine too. It's like it's so like we like to bring our own blend and our own nuance
Mm-hmm.
to the music, because excuse me.
No, you're good.
Because we like the chemistry that we have is amazing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you know, I can really call him like my brother, because he without him, like I wouldn't be able to learn how to sing. Like he's very critical. Like you said, nah, you got to do that again. Nah, do it again. You want to do it like yes.
Well, his
like,
range is crazy.
Yeah, it's just
Like he's an incredible vocalist. Big shout out to Kareem.
yeah, it is.
That was actually one of my questions. So actually, we're just gonna go right into the main lesson and talk about what you got going on now. So this is perfect, because one of my questions was about the Groovement with Kareem,
Mm-hmm.
and so give me a little bit of backstory on that. Like when you guys decided to come together as a duo, because I think it works, because with your sort of background as a multi-instrumentalist and having that neo soul background and kind of being more introduced to hip hop at a later date versus, because like that's your roots, right? Is the neo soul clearly like
Yeah.
you with performing Stevie Wonder when you were
My dad he had like the Eddie Murphy cassettes, party all the time.
Yeah, we were talking about that off air.
And Bob Marley, like he
Bob
told
Marley
me
behind
about like I love Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? Exodus.
Glad I kept that behind you then.
Yeah, I wish you had Exodus back there.
I had a
like,
funny
ooh.
feel. I don't have Exodus, unfortunately, but I had a funny feeling because I had a artist, one of the artists I manage, actually, Chase. Big shout out to Chase. He was like, "Dude, you should start rearranging these for like every episode." And I'm like, "That's actually not a bad idea. At least keep for like the close up of you. Maybe have a different one in the background." So I said, "You know what? Keep Bob there for today." I don't. Something told me that maybe that would be a good choice based on what's on the wall here.
That's not
But
yeah,
anyway,
that's cool.
but with you and Kareem, so he is obviously such a great technical vocalist, right? And somebody that has, like we said, crazy range and can really hit those highs, and comes from more of that soul-driven perspective. So, what was it about what he brought to the table, and also what you brought to the table? Why did that sort of duo make sense at the time, and sort of how do you feel where you guys are at now with the collaborations that you inevitably have done and done many times?
Yeah, so in the beginning, like I would always see him around at certain events like Black Cotton Club or just open mic events. And the first time I'd always see him sing, I would always be blown away. I'm like, yo, this dude has range, and on top of that, like his stage presence is like immaculate. And I don't think we really ever like communicated or had really like a rapport like that. But fast forward to like before COVID, or I think after COVID, I don't even remember. But he reached out to me. He wanted me to come over for like guitar lessons, because he wanted to do a cover. So we went over there. I went over his crib. We started talking about music. We started getting to know each other. And ever since then, like we just started just thinking like, you know what? Why don't we just start making music together?
That
And I
chemistry
like-
was there, like
Yeah.
you talked about earlier,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It was there, and on top of that, there was also like there was some sort of event. There was like a live stream event that was going on, and Kareem, you know, I accompanied him with a guitar, and after that, like everybody was blown away. They loved our performance, you know, and ever since then we were just been consistent, you know what I'm saying? I live down the street from him, he lives up the street from me, so I would always hit him up like, yo, come over, let's do this, that, and the third.
Makes it easy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That
And,
proximity helps.
yeah, so much help. And then once we had, and once when we started evaluating just all the work we've made, we probably made about like 25 to 50 songs. And I was just like, bro, we might as well make like a project, make it make sense, make it coherent. And he was like, yeah, I'm with it. So I found like an engineer. Shout out to John Linger. That's a master of productions. And we've been consistent with him too. He got me here to Roddy Wade too. And he's a dope cat as well. Like they're all dope. And just like the quality, I was just like attracted to it. I was like, yeah, we need this. So with that, a combination of just like the features that we had with Amanda Shea, Cherry Borderline.
Amanda's one of my favorite people in the
yeah.
whole scene, bro. Amanda knows that. She's probably watching this. Big shout out to Amanda Shea. She'll call me every once in a while after like an episode that I drop. She's like, honey, I loved that one. She actually was funny enough that after the Key episode, she called me.
That's
because I had
crazy.
Key and Mo Pope back to back. This was last year, and I remember her calling me, and she's like, honey, she's like, do you have any idea how great it is that you had Key and then Mo Pope back to back? And I'm like, I guess, yeah, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? But she's the best, dude. She loves just like supporting everyone and everyone. Like I think she's cloned. I think that's a conspiracy.
I was with her yesterday. That's the real thing.
No. I think there are more than one Amanda Shea because she's everywhere, bro. Like she's legitimate.
Let me reiterate: there's nobody, absolutely nobody like Amanda Shea.
I know. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally making. I'm not. No conspiracy theories out here. No, I mean that is like the craziest, compliment to her because she finds the time somehow, even having kids as well, to get out to like as much as she possibly can. She's out supporting everybody.
Yeah.
And then same thing, like she still, gets booked left and right for everything for her. Like, she's just like a pillar in this community, man. She's the best. We love Amanda.
She deserves a lot. Trust me, she deserves a lot.
She definitely does. Big shout out to Amanda. Sorry, I heard that name and
you're
not to get
good.
off on a tangent, but
Nah, you good. And also a lot of artists that I've known over the years too, like Destiny Polk. Shout out to Destiny Polk. Shout out to Tayshawn Taylor. You know what I'm
Tayshawn, he's
saying?
another artist that's been on the show too.
Yeah,
Big shout out to
I
Tayshawn.
love bro. I was just talking to him a few days ago. And just like we're literally on the same type of time, and I love, and this is what I love about the community. Like no matter what orifice or space that you're in, like whether it's just graphics, designs, or just drawing or dancers, because I have a lot of brothers, I have a lot of friends who are with the Crump community. Like shout out to the East, you know what I'm saying, ABCDK, you know what I'm saying, that's where that's my group, you know what I'm saying. Shout out to Kafka, shout out to Anime, shout out to all my guys, and they're really like putting on, you know what I'm saying, especially Loose Face, Landmine, and so many people, and I remember being a young kid, just like I always wanted to be like with type boys, you know what I'm saying. I wanted to be, I wanted to be just like, I was just infatuated with crumping, you know what I'm saying. Like I didn't have a lot of coordination back then because plus I was so shy, and it just like I had to scurry into other means. So I thought, okay, music, this is like my cup of tea. So I stayed in my lane until I thought about being more confident in finding other ventures. So yeah.
But crumping fits really well into especially hip hop and musicality and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we've had God on the show. He's talked about Crump and how important it is to his
yeah.
with his history, and then Rilla Force as well, who used to Crump as well.
That's crazy.
Yes, yeah. That was a little Easter egg from that episode. He was a little surprised. He's like, "How'd you know I had Crump?" I was like, I like Crump. It's actually a perfect opportunity. I want to quickly switch gears to a segment we like to call Pop Quiz.
Pop quiz.
All right, so Pop Quiz, for anyone that's a fan of Most Generous and just being introduced to us for the first time. Pop Quiz is a segment where we ask our guests rapid fire questions. All right, and some of these questions have to do with music. Some have absolutely nothing to do with music, but they're all about you, so you can't fail.
Okay.
All right. So I'll start with this. I know you're a huge lover of nature and animals. I'm curious what's been the best or most breathtaking place in nature that you've seen so far. Maybe what's one place you'd still want to go. Like for me specifically, like I definitely want to get out and do like Yellowstone National Park. That's like a big one for me. Ooh. I've done a lot of the East Coast now with like, between the obviously the White Mountains in New Hampshire and, Acadia National Park. I was just there pretty recently. And then I've even done the Smoky Mountains and like the North Carolina area, but that's like a place I really want to get out. So I'm curious for you, like what's like a place one of the most breathtaking places you've seen and maybe one place that you'd love to go?
Man, I went to New York not too long ago.
Upper state New York's got some great hiking and trails and all that stuff.
Oh, I haven't been there yet, but I went to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was amazing. And just like so much culture there, like the food was amazing. Me and my boys, we took that trip because there was that's a segue, but we was just there was so much things that were going on, independently in our lives, just like a lot of deaths that were going on. My friend passed away, R.I.P. Lucci, you know what I'm saying? And he came to our event not too, like a week, 2 weeks before his passing, and it kind of just, the energy in the city just like shifted, and I was just like, yeah, I need to get out of here. And we all decided like, yeah, let's take that trip. We went to New York. We had an Airbnb. We was locked in for like 3 days, and we just tried to recalculate and just restore the feeling of just realizing, okay, this is life. You're not a machine. Everything that you're feeling is real. Don't forget that you have to remember people, who they were, the good, and sometimes the bad, but most importantly the good, because that's the only thing that's gonna inspire you. That's the only thing that's gonna help you push forward. So yeah, sometimes getting out of Boston is important, and just feed your brain with like just knowing that you're not like the situation you're in is just minimal, compared to everybody else that's going through. Like your world is not, it doesn't revolve around you. So New York is beautiful. I want to definitely go back again, go to Bronx, more the Bronx, go to Harlem. But most importantly, I want to go back home to Nigeria. Yeah, because I have a lot of relatives back over there. My parents, they're both from Benin.
Oh, wow.
And I'm Edo. So, like, Edo is another ethnic group in Nigeria. So, like, and I have a lot of people over there, and Lagos too, in Benin. So I want to be able to go back over there, and rekindle, or at least like get to know more about, where my people came from, and just enjoy over there, just drink up just the experience over there, and hopefully I could be able to travel to more parts of Africa too, like South Africa, especially South Africa. Amano Piano is very popular down there, so it's like I definitely got to tap into it. I want to meet some artists down there too. You know what I mean? I want to go to the UK as well too.
Yeah, that's the spot I'm trying to get to as well.
Ooh,
UK, yeah. Awesome. I know you're a huge disliker of coffee, like myself. I actually can't drink coffee.
Nah.
I'm allergic to caffeine myself, but I know you're a huge foodie.
Yes.
I'm curious what your last meal would be.
I'm a big backer, so man, I love me some burgers. I love me burgers, but it would being real too. I love my mom's cooking. She always makes fufu, some egusi, some jollof rice. You know what I'm saying?
So like very ethnic Nigerian food. Then.
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll love fufu. It's like if you like meat, if you like just like vegetables and spices and all that. You know, it's like fufu is like this little dough. You know what I'm saying? You put water in a pot, you put the powder in it, and you basically have to mix it. You wait till it gets mushy. You know what I'm saying? It's really good. You put it in a plate. You also, make the stew. You know, depending if you like agusi, some people don't like agusi. I know a lot of my friends who don't like it. It's like, that's horrible. Da, da, da. I'm like, all right. So,
bro, when you invite me over for dinner, what the
yeah,
fuck?
you invite so you was talking about, you wanted to eat some African food. Here you go. Like, so yeah.
I like trying new food.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Food is like food and music. It's all of it is like aphrodisiac. It's also a way to kind of communicate. You know how much you. Yeah, because we always use food as a way to communicate, and also
100%.
Music too.
100%.
So yeah, like I also want to learn how to cook too, because I don't know, I'm just inspired by a lot of my friends who know how to cook, and I'm just like, yo, what? You know, I tried some like vegan curry. With mushrooms and some others. I was like, yo, this is bomb. And I was like, man, you trying to make me forget about eating meat now. And I'm like, I love me some beef, man. I love me some beef and a steak. You can't, no. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to open my mind to different types of varieties of food.
Yeah.
And with music too, because I like Flint, what is it called? Fleetwood Mac?
Oh, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, bro, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah,
I grew up on Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, my friends told me the stories about, just like how big their bands were.
Oh, yeah, man.
And just like, they were just crazy, doing a lot of crazy stuff, but they were making hits.
They did crazy shit. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, I saw them live about 5 years ago now. Wow. They're older now. I mean, and Stevie Nicks, who's like one of the lead singers, I mean, she could barely hit a lot of the notes that she could anymore. Granted, because she's older now, and all the years of doing coke, and
oh man, that's sad.
She really did. She could not hit some of those high notes, unfortunately. But it was cool to still see them live. It was pretty sweet. I saw them at the Garden, and but yeah, there's a lot of turmoil with that group for sure. It's amazing that they were still doing shows even up until like 5 years ago. Yeah, so pretty cool. But
show business.
There's a show actually. It's out on Amazon, I believe. It's called, I think, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Daisy Jones.
It's loosely based on their story. So you should check it out if you're like interested in like getting like some background on Fleetwood Mac. It's like very loosely based on sort of their come up, so to speak.
Okay.
My mom was big fans of them. So growing up, like, you said you had like Lost Stevie Wonder in the house. Like, I had a lot of Elton John, Fleetwood Mac, Bob Marley, who else? Al Green, a lot of Al Green in the house, stuff like that. My mom, Luther Vandross was another one. My mom loved Luther Vandross. So, but Fleetwood Mac was like a huge like pillar for me, like when I was growing up. So, glad you brought them up. Yeah. I know you're a huge fan of anime.
I love it. Oh man.
So I've heard One Piece is your favorite.
Yes.
But what would be your Mount Rushmore of favorite anime? So if like One Piece is on there, what are your other three top favorites?
Ooh, this is perfect. All right. So One Piece, Berserk, for sure Berserk.
Okay.
Attack on Titans, Naruto. I'm starting to watch Bleach, so Bleach, I put Bleach there. One more. Am I missing one more? Is that like
Mount Rushmore's 4, so technically.
It's 4. Yeah.
So you already went over.
Right, cool.
Now you gotta edit that a little bit.
I'm gonna put more heads. I'm gonna put more heads on that motherfucker. Oh man, but yeah, like for sure those, and especially like Berserk, because Berserk, it's a little bit old. I mean, my friends told me that they're still continuing, and I'm like, bro, I was shocked, because the first time I really watched Berserk was when I was in New York, and so first of all, there's this guy named Griffith, and Griffith, he has this complex, this some sort of superior complex where it's like, he has to be this leader, and he has to be able to feed his army of mercenaries, and he has to pay them and do this out of third to take on different kingdoms and destroy different enemies and all that. And there's a guy named Guts. So it's like Guts, he doesn't have any dreams. He has no motivation or anything like that, because since he got beat in a duel by Griffith, he has to be under him, and he has to, be a soldier under him, and like, this is what I have to do. I have to serve you, and when you win this specific goal, that's it. I'm over. I'm done. And when it comes to that point, Gus wins the duel, and Griffith is just like, he feels lost. He feels like, damn, like, I need you. Like, I can't do all this stuff without you. You know what I'm saying? And he just started spiraling, and when he spiraled, chaos ensued. Gus went to go rescue him, but there was a necklace on him that ignited or activated this demon spawn, and it just, reality started to turn into this grim, nightmarish atmosphere. And basically, Griffith, he always wanted to be king. He always wanted to be king. That was always his goal. But when he was given the choice to, mind you, he's almost on death. He's almost at death's doorstep, and he made the choice. Yes, I want to be king of the dark underworld or whatever. And that's what happened. He decided to do that, but the cost was to kill everything and everybody that he loved, or he knew that he thought that he loved, even Gus, especially Gus, because and it's so crazy just seeing like the protagonist turn into the antagonist. But I think the whole story was shown through Gus's eyes. You know what I'm saying? Even though like the antagonist, was pure at first. And I didn't agree with Griffith at all with a lot of the things that he did, but I understood because who's gonna do it? Everything costs money. You have to be able to come up. You have to be able to understand and balance and weigh your options on the circumstances and the consequences of every action. This is what every leader does. So
yeah, and I feel like I'm not a huge anime watcher, but I feel like every person I talk to that watches anime and is like a huge fan of it, I feel like there's just a lot of, I feel like this is true for most TV shows and movies, but I feel like especially animes, they always pack like really specific, themes of morality and sort of light lessons and sort of the ways in which, like, I feel like those are like always the pillars of anime, and when I talk to people that really enjoy it. So
yeah, it's way better than cartoons, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
oh yeah.
But anime is they always have a message. There's always a message.
Always a message.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially with One Piece, you know what I mean? And mind you, like, I never gave it a chance when I was young, but the older I got, I started, all right, let me try it. And then now I'm just hooked. It's like a needle, and I can't take it out of I can't. And I'm just like, it's so cool just having a whole community of friends who are like hip to anime too
and enjoy it. Well, I feel like I almost feel like a lot of musicians like anime. I feel like it's especially hip hop artists. Like the more hip hop artists I talk to like anime than don't. I find that pretty fascinating. So you had mentioned cartoons. This is my last question for you in pop quiz. I know you're someone you've been known to be somebody that posts a lot of SpongeBob memes and quotes.
Yes.
And so what do you think is the best moment or episode in the show's history? Like for me, it's as a former ELA teacher, I love the essay one where he's trying to write the essay and he freaks out. I love that episode. That episode always kills me. But what's one moment you really like from SpongeBob?
There's a lot, but I love the Doodle Bob episode.
Oh, Doodle Bob's
I love the Doodle Bob episode. Like, yes. Like, because it's just like, this is what happens when creativity meets reality. And it's like, it's like, bro, a pencil literally falls down to Bikini Bottom, and they just start playing with it and start drawing. Like, they know how to draw Squidward. They did horrible with Squidward. And I don't know what the fuck they were doing with it. They did not eat with that. I'm sorry. But yeah, like, it was so cool. Just like, yeah, it was just cool watching it. And now as an artist and as somebody who used to like draw, and I used to draw SpongeBob all the time. Like, you can ask all my friends back in middle school. I used to print out like 50 pages, and I used to staple them together, and I would turn it into a comic book.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, and I would always like draw pictures inside of like I would come up with a storyline.
Like those flip books kind of where like you would flip, like you'd kind of like flip through it, and it would be like a an image that would like sort of make some type of movement or whatever, like you draw it over and over.
Something like that. But I'll also put like dialogue like above.
Oh,
so
that's fire.
it would be like I would cut like the paper in half. So a line like above the line it would be like a dialogue, and then below it would just be pictures. And
Yeah, you're making your own comic books, bro.
yeah,
Ah, you're a creative. That's what you do. That's what creative people do.
yeah,
That's
very
fire.
creative. And
Well, big shout out to SpongeBob.
yeah, shout out.
My
to
mom used to
SpongeBob.
hate when she's like, "Oh my god, turn that off." She used to hate when I watched SpongeBob, but it's all good.
My mother would hate it when I would watch Animal
Formative,
Planet.
bro. It's one of the Nickelodeon. I mean, yeah, say what you want about Nickelodeon these days with everything that came out about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, some of the cartoons, man, still
Of course,
stack up.
you know, it helped us
They
with our
still-
childhood. You know,
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, it got us through. It got us
yeah.
through. Cartoon Network too. But. Well, that was Pop Quiz with Most Generous. I think you did great. Yeah. Well done. I want to quickly ask you about your before we bring on our next two guests or to join you. You know, I want to talk a little bit about Very Good, the album that you dropped at the top of this year. So I'm curious about the creative process with that body of work. I feel like it's, you know, just looking at your career, it feels like the most successful album you've had so far, or project you've put out so far, solo wise.
Yeah.
You've had obviously Kareem on there a couple times, Nate Nix,
Yeah.
Trevor Holmes, a
Yeah.
couple other collaborators. So talk to me a little bit about about Very Good and you know how it's really, I think, for this year, how it's really, you know, progressed throughout the year.
Yeah, so like Very Good. Like I dropped it on January 6th, and so most of the songs are they capture the type of moods that I would be feeling at that time, and I thought about putting all these songs into an album in the form of a mood board, because you know everybody. I just wasn't really inspired by everybody around me, but more so it was about inspiration of my life and just like my love life. Also just like just finding happiness, just finding my inner peace and equilibrium. And that's basically what Very Good was. You know, I didn't want to make things complicated, you know, because Very Good is just simple. I like to be simple now because I want to be able to grasp, you know, the audience that I want to be able to grasp. And also Very Good, like shout out to my boy Shane. You know, Shane is also a part of Show and Tell Boston, Shani Poo, and he helped me with like executive production. So like there were some songs that did not fit the direction of the project, which I was happy to abandon because it's always about putting something that's cohesive. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just have one good song and then 5, you know, terrible songs. You know what I'm saying? Or by terrible, I'm talking about like sad, you know, minor. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, songs that just don't fit the aesthetic or sonically, like where you're going. I get that.
yeah, it's just like I always see things like do not put too much toppings on the pizza.
That's a good point.
That's how
Yeah.
all artists should be able to think about
Self-editing almost in a
Yes.
way, like because again, like I hear you because there's so much you want to do, but then does it all maybe make sense together, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because there are gonna be some people who might not want sausage on their pizza, who don't like meat. You know, some people who don't want spices or don't want onions or garlics and all the anchovies. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to understand your audience. You know, their psychology, what they gravitate towards, and then give them exactly what you want. Especially if they already understand the type of person you are, and you can be able to put it in your music, which I know how to do. I just go with that and I leave with it. And Very Good. I treat my music like it's like they're infants, because an infant, you know, it takes months for them to like learn how to walk. You know, sometimes it takes, you know, but in this instance, you know what I'm saying, like the normal, I'd say, what lifespan of like a rollout of an album would be 13 months, 13 months, 12 months. So within the 13 months, I try to look for things that would make sense, because you don't want to do too much visuals. Me, I don't like doing too much. I'm a minimalist. Like I like to minimalize what I would like to do and what I would like to give my audience. So, you know, I like to give out visuals. If I have visuals for something like this, you know, I'll make sure that I put a lot of time into it, because sometimes people like to just throw things on the wall, see whatever sticks, and when it comes to like really good music, it takes time. Like Kendrick Lamar, compared to Drake and Kendrick Lamar, not to compare apples to oranges, but it's like we appreciate Kendrick Lamar because like his music is more, you can really eat off of every single meaning and every single like element of his music, whether it's his lyrics, you know, just the metaphors, just the way he's able to personify and change, you know, just the dialogue and shift the culture compared to like Drake, where it's like the music is just like a feeling. It gets you like it changes your mood, you know, and that's, you know, that's music. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to educate you. It's supposed to it's supposed to make you feel a specific experience. And it's all again subjective, but you know, that's also like you know, very good just in its essence, just being able to capture just like the mood, you know, like very good, like literally, like it's almost like an affirmation, like, yo, I feel really very good, or I feel very good. You know, it's goofy, it's really goofy, but that's literally it. I don't try to be something I'm not, I don't really like, I'm very conscious, so it's like I'm conscious about what I put out, you know, and I'm conscious about what I put in, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's important. That's important as well, for sure. And I know that like Questions is one of your favorite songs on the project, which by the way, it's a great body of work.
Damn, that's crazy.
So yeah, it's a great body of work. Very good. Out now. It's linked in the description. So make sure you guys check it out wherever you get your music. Do you mind if we play a clip of Questions for the people, just so they get a feel for what they might hear? All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. This is Questions by Most Generous off of his more newish project. Came out the top end of the year. It's called Very Good. Again, it's linked in the description. So don't go anywhere yet. We got plenty left with Most Generous and our next two special guests. But take a quick peek at Questions, and we'll be right back.
I ain't approved by the FDA. I'm approved by the people. Besides being divisive nowadays, I need an equal. Frequently been feeling like Sade, king of sorrow. But I'm thankful for you as I'm thankful for tomorrow. Thankful for today and the way that you bless me and caress me with your positivity. Can we maintain this chemistry? Can't tell if you're playing me. Too many questions, too many questions for me. Too much suspicions, options, yeah, you choose me. Mi amor, esta piernacita quiero. Tranquila, cálmate. Questions, too many questions for me. Too much suspicions, options, yeah, you choose me. Mi amor, esta piernacita quiero.
All right, and that was Questions off of Most Generous's new album, Very Good. It is out now, linked in the description, so make sure you guys check that out at the conclusion of this episode. And of course, now we are joined by two more special guests. We got Cheese, to Most Generous's right, and then to his right, we got Tata. Cheesy Tatas is what I like to name you guys. So that was a good way to remember the name. So if you guys see that out there, I'm calling it now. I came up with that. So if they go and take it, you know, they might hear from me. No,
You gotta hit us up, dog.
it's a pleasure to have all you guys, though. I want to talk about Show and Tell, which is the podcast that you guys run. And I'm really curious about it because there's so many of you, I feel like. So it's the three of you plus Shane, and there's a few others, right? Who else is on that show?
It's an artist collective. So we have Mashari, Cricket.
We have Yuki.
Yeah,
My boy
We have
Yuki,
Yuki. We also have Lamar.
Kevo.
Yeah. We
Wow.
also have Kev. Who else we got? There's a lot of us. There's also like we have like a whole like system.
there's like 11 of us. in the
Yeah.
group chat.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about not only the inception of Show and Tell, but like how difficult is it to maintain a platform with 11 people involved and like as many people as you guys have? Like, you know, how does it work in terms of like actually getting the products out there? And, you know, how do you guys decide like, you know, who goes on what episodes? Like, is it just kind of you figure out a date, whoever's like around shows up? Like, talk to me about like sort of the rundown of Show and Tell and like its inception, and then like how you guys actually make the thing run.
I'm not gonna lie. So we have this like running thing in our group that like we're all scatterbrain artists. So like all of us are trying to do like different things, and like everyone's kind of like, I got this project, I got that project, I want to do this and that. But somehow, like organically, it kind of comes out. Even though there's like a lot of things in the back burner that we're trying to do. But it just kind of works out. Like, oh, this makes sense for you because you like, say like we have Mashari who's like into like sexual health and stuff like that. So like, say we have someone who's like inquiring about that. Like, it makes sense for her to like host, or it makes sense for her to have that conversation. Or say someone who's like really into entrepreneurship, or say someone's really into the artistry, or say someone's really into like say like visual arts. It just kind of makes sense because all of us have different different things that we really kind of really like.
Yeah, like interests, like different interests.
Yeah.
And so we kind of come together and be like, okay, well, let's pair this up with you, and let's pair that up with you. You know what I mean? We kind of just go from there.
Right. Godspeed. That's what it is.
Yeah. Just Godspeed.
Yeah.
But it's really cool too because also like Cricket, you know, she's also a member, like, because she helps like with like administration, you know, just like the back end things, just like make sure like the emails are on top, you know, also just like working with questions that we have for like guests on a specific topic, and sometimes it takes, like, you know, because we really like operate off of just like pure like synergy and also just like admiration and also just dedication, because we understand that since this is like, you know, like our baby, this is like also like a business too, so like we also have to be able to turn on different types of like switches or put on different types of hats to be able to communicate with different types of entities or organizations, to be able to pull off, you know, some of our agendas or pull off some of our episodes. And that would include like us just making sure that we like have meetings, you know, we're able to catch up with some of our deadlines, some of the things that we want to be able to do, and we want to be able to nail each and every one of our, you know, agendas, you know, in the best way we could without just rushing everything.
Sure.
And yeah, like so far, you know, we've had some, you know, events. Cheese,
I just had my art show in June. It was the first one of many.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very.
Where was that? Like, what was that?
We had it in Mattapan. It was at
Mattapan?
Yeah, Mattapan at my boy Phil's shop. It was a barber shop called Share Inc. in Mattapan.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, he had let me use his spot. He was just off pure, like, you know, passion. Like, all of my art is correlating with my energy, or like some way that I like to express myself, either with the music that influenced it, or like the perspective of me like bringing in like religion or like numerology into it with like a few different backgrounds. But just talking about it with him, he was just like, yo, you gotta have it at mine. You gotta have your first one here. And then like now he wants to build like a community with it. So like, see how it goes.
I think that's another reason why I like what you guys do, because it does feel very community driven, and it doesn't feel like you guys are like boxing yourselves into like one aspect of art, so to speak, right? Like there's, you know, we're looking at it from a music perspective, and actual art galleries, things like that. Like, you guys have more to it than just, and again, not to like bash my own show, but it's like, it's more or less of like, I just focus more on music, where you guys have such a different sort of like a way in which you can get out there more and like just more versatile, I guess is the best way to put it. And I think that's great because it opens you guys up to maybe more opportunities than you wouldn't have otherwise. And so that's a really cool thing that I like love and appreciate about it. And every time I see the visuals come up on social media or I watch an episode, it's like, it's just like, it just feels like a hangout. It was just pretty cool, you know. It just feels like you guys all genuinely like each other too, which I'm sure really helps.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of came from the era of I don't know if you heard of was that place? It was Inner Sanctum.
I'm not familiar.
Inner Sanctum.
No, tell me about it.
I think we kind of it was like this like warehouse in like Nubian Square and shit.
That's okay. Poor Bob Marley's getting.
Beating my boy up.
Tyler's been beating Bob Marley up since he got on set. I don't know what's going on here, but no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So Inner Sanctum was this place in Nubian Square that it hosted like a bunch of artists, and a lot of us kind of descended from that type of era. So it's like that was what we kind of like we based a lot of things on. Like, yeah, we want people to come through, we want people to hang out, we want people to network, come chill, drink, talk about things that like are you passionate about. All of us are like fascinated people. Let's kind of connect on those things. You know what I mean? So we really enjoy that type of thing.
That's fantastic. I love that. What's been like each of you like your most memorable episode you've had on the show so far, or some memorable moment that that you each have?
I'm not even gonna lie, this is kind of toxic. I already liked our horror story one.
Oh
yeah.
It was a complete mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. Wait, you want to fill it in?
So we had an episode where we just wanted people to talk about like relationships, like it's called Relationship Horror Stories.
Oh, geez.
And we wanted people just to like some horror things that happened, and it's very unscripted. So we were having people talk, and it just kind of went off the rails. In like one guy was actually like one of our hosts' cousin. It took him forever to tell his story.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And he
It's
like
been a pretty bad toxic moment.
He made the whole panel like uncomfortable.
Oh no
Yeah,
way.
yeah. To the point where like most felt some type of way and called him out, and it was a big debacle like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, but nothing.
Oh, so it was like some drama on air, huh?
Yeah,
Mos?
listen. Everything I show and tell is real. Okay, I'll just which camera? Everything I show and tell is real. That shit is real. But other than that, that's not 100% of the things that happen at show and tell. Like it's always a place of love. It's always a good community. We always know how to communicate. And if people feel like there's somebody who is like impeding on just the rules that we have to like uphold, what I'm saying, like kick them out, because this is all a community based platform. So it's like we are literally in the middle of Roxbury, what I'm saying, like 195 Dudley Street, what I'm saying, and we've had all types of artists, all types of people who are like state representatives who work with like children, who work in the education of Boston Public Schools, who are also who help with the community, and so we want to be able to highlight that and put shed like a spotlight on that, because it's for a long time, we felt like we always had conversations where it's like, we never thought we'd see, the scene like this, like bubble the way it is. And now like we're just all contributing to it, in our own way. Like for instance, like people would always come up to us like, like y'all are the platform that's really doing it. Y'all are like the bridge, what I'm saying? Like y'all are bridging between like the young and the old, or the in between, because like we're a little bit young, relatively young, but we're all mature, like to the point where like our audience, it matches us. So it's like we don't have to really reach out to things that are out of our demographic, but we only gravitate toward things that are relatable. Like conversations that spark debate. That's the important thing. That's what I always love, because I always love talking about what's going on in the world, what's going on in our communities, especially. It's always important to highlight that. So I think Show Tell does a good job with that, and also providing entertainment, because we're like the Jerry Springer of like the podcast here in Boston. You know what I'm saying? Like I forgot who said that. I think it was Shane who said that, or something like that.
Shane said that?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of my favorites that we were doing was like art in AI, like artists versus AI.
Oh yeah.
So that was
That's
one
an
of the
interesting
things.
conversation.
Like, we had like a traditional artist. Cheese was on. Cheese is an artist.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then we had a traditional artist, a comic book artist, like people who do graphic design. Like we're talking about like how is AI gonna affect your field? How is AI gonna affect artistry and stuff like that? Even like I don't think we really got into it, but like music, is going to be affected by AI. Like
Already
all
has
these
been,
things,
yeah,
you know.
of course.
Yeah, already.
So like, I really enjoyed like talking about that. I think also too, I do love. It's kind of played out, but I do like our men versus women conversations, where everyone's just kind of like attacking each other. It's so fun. But no, I just like our debates. To tell
Yeah.
the truth.
Well,
Me too.
yeah. I think for like, I think what you're to your point, most of having, being able to bridge the gap between different demographics and age groups, right? Like, I think it's important for kids to see what a healthy debate should look like, given, that sometimes I won't get too political here, but like, you see some debates on national levels, and you're like, what am I watching right now? Like, what is
the dogs?
what-
They're eating the dogs. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Don't
They're eating the cats.
Yo, I couldn't believe he said that shit.
Yo.
I couldn't believe he said it. It was like the craziest shit
Is
ever.
this something that you would say when you're on drugs?
For real.
Like, it's-
100%.
So I'm just like, oh my.
100%.
I would try dog.
Tata, no.
Stir-fried mutt is crazy. Stir-fried mutt is wild.
That's crazy.
He's literally like this on our show too.
I would try dog, he says.
Kitten nuggets. Who cares?
Oh, man. I mean, there's been a lot of funny, like, memes and social media stuff that's come out of it. This one woman I said, she's like, "Hi, I live in Springfield, Ohio. This is me and my husband making our classic dish." And she's just taking cats and like put them into like.
And we're Haitian. We're Haitian. So like that's.
Oh, you guys are Haitian. Oh my God, even worse.
Me
then.
and G's Haitian. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So we're the people, bro. Hide your pets.
As you guys can see, I didn't bring my cat to the studio today, and I knew why. That's the reason why.
I would have took that motherfucker.
That's crazy.
I'm playing.
Yeah, and you said you're the one down here earlier saying how much you like to try new food, man. I mean, come on.
No. Don't put this on me now.
No, I'm fucking with you. But anyway, no, I think it's important for kids to see what a healthy debate should look like, right? And like what at least a respectful debate should look like. Oops. And then also, on top of that, with the AI piece of it, I think that's a valuable conversation as well. And one of the things that I think about AI, and that's like going to start my sort of ideas about this, but I think that it's like most things. I liken it to almost like fast food, right? Where it's quick and easy, but it's not really going to nourish you. It's not going to be typically as healthy as something, and it's not going to build out your community by going to McDonald's versus if I go to the mom and pop, restaurant that's down the street. And I think like maybe you can speak to this more, Cheese, as an artist, but just like I think that every time I've looked at something AI wise for like graphic design or whatever, or something I'm trying to get something quickly done, it just doesn't have that human touch to it that somebody that actually is a legitimate artist, when they create it, you can get that actual, you can get either their mood or their certain textures that they use or whatever. There's just a human element to it, even if it's something graphic design wise.
Right.
Versus like if I just go on a Canva or go on a PicMonkey or I don't know, choose your whatever platform you use and just kind of pick the AI generated stuff from there. I've always appreciated, like, it's just, there's a clear difference to me. I can see the difference. I don't know if you feel the same way, but.
Me personally, I was just telling, on the episode, I was telling Tata, like, I never actually got a chance to use it. I was actually just teaching myself before the episode because I'm like, yo, I've never even dug into this at all. So, like, just the experience in it, it was like, yo, this AI can't even digest my art. Like, it was like,
right.
forming it in a way that was like trying to make sense of it type deal. So like that's why I kind of,
because sometimes art doesn't need to make sense, right? It's all
Right,
about
right.
feeling and emotion, and the AI is not going off of feeling and emotion.
Right,
it's going
right.
off of what, like you
Logically,
said,
yeah,
a lot
logically.
more of a logical thing.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was one of my favorite episodes too. And the one with Dharma, the mental health one with Dharma.
Oh yeah,
That was a great experience. We had like, I think another episode we was like meditating and everything like right before. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, that's
I
incredible.
like those. I actually brought my boy Kurt on one. Shout out my boy Kurt.
Oh
Yeah.
Shout out to him. We talked. That was a man episode.
The man episode, yeah.
What it means to be a man. But that was funny because it was like it was kind of like you know, Kurt Cheese is kind of like where kind of dudes from the hood, or you know, I'm talking kind of like these people who are like maybe like red pill ish. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Super cool dude. Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out Rich. Shout out Rich.
Shout out Rich. But
Shout out Rich.
they're pouring maybe like red pill, Andrew Tate kind of.
No.
you know what I mean?
Love it.
You know what I mean? but it was a cool conversation. It was definitely
No.
like cool conversations. We're coming from different, like, you know, people from different arenas in life, just kind of coming
Exactly.
together and have a conversation what it means to be a man, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, even if I personally, and I'm joking, right, and I say, oh yeah, my kind of people would. If I like, if I don't necessarily, I think we have to get away from like, you and I don't get, not to say we don't disagree, like we don't get along. You and I disagree on something. Okay, like goodbye. Like I feel like we're such in this day and age now of the echo chamber sort of status where like I only want to, you know, work with people or talk to people or be friends with people that think the way I do.
No, that's corny.
that's
Because
corny.
we
Yeah, that's
literally
corny.
see this in our community sometimes. Like some certain cliques, you know, we see it all the time. So it's like
Yeah.
that's not how we want to be able to show people like this is not growth. This is not how
Right.
you can be able to see point of views. You want to be able to have something that's opposing. So where it opens your
Right.
mind. Like for instance, the what's the there's like a theory. The Dunning curve.
Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah, what is it called?
It's like Dunning-Kruger is like when you think
Yeah.
you're smarter than you are or something like that.
Yeah, basically, it's when you oversess the amount of knowledge and out there that's like that you thought you knew, but
Right.
and once when you're being around different cultures, people who adapt or perform a different type of acts or speak differently, especially, or knows how to interpret art differently. You want to be able to, you either learn from it, you're intrigued by it, or you're just like repulsed by it, you know. But it's like this is how we learn, you know. This is how we can be able to understand like what fits for us or what doesn't.
Right.
Right. God put us to embrace, you know, not to separate and try to click up. He want us to be a community. He want us to get together. You get what I mean? So
Yeah, and unite, you know.
Unite,
'cause
evolve.
We're stronger when we unite, but also understand like everybody is different and unique. You know, when you're unique, you are alone, but also united. And so yeah, like community. You know, that's just one of the that's just one of the things that I feel like resonates with Show and Tell Boston. Is we make sure that it only sticks with that, and yeah.
No, I like that.
yeah, self-love,
important.
self-expression, like all those mental health episodes. Like, cause I'm a real big advocate for
Yeah.
mental health and
Especially
stuff like that.
not
you know?
to say that just because we're all sitting here, but for men as well, because I've had these conversations with certain men I've had on the show as well, where I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just think it's important as men to really focus on our mental health because it's not something that we like to talk about as often.
True.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And I think that, especially certain cultures, like even with, you know, I'm come from a more like Italian, and like, you know, my Italian family that was a little bit like different generations than me, like especially the men, like, nope, you don't talk about your feelings. It's a thing you're not supposed to do. But I think that's obviously led to more harm than good.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, of course.
anyway, go ahead, continue. I apologize.
100%.
Yeah, so
People are like, stop being a bitch.
yeah, exactly. But you
Can I
know,
swear? Can I swear? I'm sorry.
Of course you can. Yeah. Just because
Yeah.
it's turntable teachers doesn't mean we can't swear. No, but like you said, I think that's all super important.
yeah, so I'm definitely leaning towards that. I'm definitely trying to get that towards the community. I always pushing forward towards like trying to get people to think about themselves, not only physically or fiscally, but mentally and spiritually. You know what I mean? So just on different perspectives, on the different lanes of, how I can see myself, like what do I want for myself? Because in reality, like we only presented what is in front of us, what our environment allows us to see. You know what I mean? So the capacity to have this type of correlation, like show and tell, it opens doors not only for people of our like genre or like
Or our
generation or like, you know, skin tone or whatever, it opens doors for like everybody, you know what I mean, to be connected to see what the other side looks like.
And also for expression, because we're very big on everybody being able to express who they are and express their opinions, even if it and trust me, we've had a lot of people where I disagree with their opinions by 100, by 1,000, but it's like the fact that they're able to do that without being persecuted or without being like ostracized. Rather, if you put it on Twitter, people are just gonna like flame you for weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I like that we don't push like a message. We just get people together to just have the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're not coming there with any agenda. It's like, all right, you believe in this. Let's get someone who believes in something different. Let's bring you guys together. Let's talk about it, and then let's see where the conversation goes.
I like that because then it opens the door for more of a genuine, like, way into that versus what you're saying is more or less surface level and just very reactionary on social media where, like, it's, you know, you guys are cultivating a space where, you know, it allows for people to maybe be a little more, I guess,
Get to the
patient.
root of
Yeah,
the
get that too.
impulse.
Yeah, 100%.
Because a lot of people, they on Twitter just imposing. Like,
Oh, it's super
you know what I
impulsive.
mean? They
It's-
just
yeah.
doing that shit. Right, like,
It's not indicative, I think, of what most people even think. Because, like, I almost feel like it's just, again, it's such a reactionary thing. Where just, like, social media can be, everyone's so, and it's happened to me. Trust me. Like, I see something and it's genuinely, like, upset me and pissed me off. I'm like, why the hell is this person putting this out here? I think it's incredibly toxic, or it's not like something that I think should be out there. But then it's like, you know, on the other breath, it's like, why am I allowing that to affect me in my own? And now what? That's going to take half my day. I'm going to be fixated on that. Like, what is what? How is that productive for me?
Offset your hormones too. Like, you're gonna be in a negative mood for who knows amount of time. Like, you know what I mean?
Who knows what that's going to do to me? Exactly.
Yeah, that's why it's important. Like, mental health is important. You gotta remember, you gotta be able to condition yourself and let yourself know that nobody can take you out of your frame but yourself.
Right.
Like that, and there's times where, of course, our anger can get the best of it, especially me. Oh my gosh, you know how many times I've almost lost my shit, like, behind the camera, in front of the camera, like. But I realized that the older I get, I can't do the same thing that I've been doing since I was 17, 18 years old. It's just times have changed. You have to be able to take accountability. Also, you have to be able to you have to harbor a lot of your emotions. You know, there are times where I put it on my sleeve. There's times when I put it on the floor. You know, I play on the floor a lot, but I'm learning to do the opposite because it's important to have balance. You know, you want to be able to show people that you can have a cool mind, you can have a cool head, but also to show that you're passionate about a lot of these topics that is close to home with us.
I was gonna say one of my favorite outbursts from Mos is so we do so we have
I
panels.
love how he started that. One of my favorite Mos outbursts is
So we have like panels. We're bringing like 5 people, but sometimes we do like a community podcast. So we'll invite like it could be like 50 people, and we pass pass mics around. So we'll introduce a question, and we'll pass mics around. And then one time it was like I guess everyone was like, you know, everyone gets excited when there's a topic, and then people listening, and then most kind of like just like shout, hey, da da da. But the question was like, why does everyone talk about the importance of mental health, but no one goes to therapy? And you know, like a lot of people do, like, you know, like a lot of people just talk about.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially, I think especially for like black men too. You know what I mean? Like black men just don't do therapy or doctors.
He was just talking about how Italian men don't do it. Like, you ever watch
it's
what's the one show?
Sopranos.
Sopranos, yeah.
That
was the biggest
It's all
thing about
based
it.
on
Like,
like he is literally hides the entire show that he's in therapy because he doesn't want anyone to find out because he thinks that it's gonna make him less than a man, or he's gonna make him not as like intimidating towards either his associates or people that he's working, you know, whatever. You know, and it's literally the opening scene is him in therapy and him being pissed off that he's even there in the first place. And you know, it's so yes, and I've heard it a lot from the black community that is the truth. Like, no, I'm not in the black community, so you know, I wouldn't, obviously, right?
But guess what? You're melanated.
I tried, guys. I tried. I was like, no, but it's a little bit similar in other, you know, certain other cultures as well. Again, just from my experience, the Italian, you know, culture, it's very similar in that sense. It can be like I think it's an old school European thing in a lot of ways too. That is a value, and it's maybe it's could be even just a generational thing as well, and more than it is like a cultural thing.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
both.
think so.
It's totally both.
Yeah,
100. No, 100%. It's
No,
both.
for
I
sure.
completely agree with you.
Trust.
But I feel like there's a generational thing with it now because again, here we all are like. You know, we're all different race in some regard, and like, you know, but we're all kind of having like we all agree in a similar fashion that like, yes, mental health, especially in men, it's important, but we're all of the same generation, so I feel like there's like there's that connectivity there that we have all between us, despite us maybe having different backgrounds. So
I completely agree.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty cool thing. No, but you're right. So many people talk about it, but don't actually like act on it.
Yeah.
With the mental health piece of it, and I mean, I was guilty of that for a long time when I was younger.
Hell, I'm still
Same.
guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know that I'm mapping out the process to really go through with it because right now I'm in a good position where it's like, okay, I'm making a lot of money. Oh, I'm doing what I love. Let me do that. Why not? Because a lot of things just happen. I need to really I need to really reflect. I need somebody to be able to assess like what's going on in my head because. You know, like, again, we always push things down because we want to be able to complete our tasks or we want to be able to complete just like our priorities. And we're not keeping our eye on just like how our heart is or how what's good with like just our mental. You know?
Check on your strong friends too, right?
That's a fact.
Yeah.
True.
People that claim that they're, you know, that they're doing well.
But I don't want to be just like that person too, but it's like sometimes you do check on your strong friends and it's still not enough. So still do it because in your heart, deep down inside, that's the right thing to do, you know.
Fact.
But again, like nobody knows the struggles that another person is going through or the type of battles that another person is battling. So it's always about being aware and also just lending a hand, being generous, being showing that you really care, you know, and showing that there's actually humanity in this world despite just what's going on. The opposite. And also goes into just like there's moral evil and then there's natural evil. I think there's like a philosophy called the Iranian or the soul making theodicy where it's like God created us unfinished so that once when we're growing up we understanding the right and what's wrong, what's justice, what's injustice, and we have to understand that we can't understand what is bad if we haven't really felt just like the good aspects of life or how good someone has treated us. Or we can't understand like one extreme if we haven't experienced the other. You know what I'm saying? How have you been to a hot area when all you've seen is just snow? All you've seen is just ice. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just a different perspective on philosophy.
I like that.
I love that, man. Another thing too, you can look at it like what Carl Jung would say with the light and the shadow, and people understanding the shadow in themselves, because all of us have that. All of us have that dark side, and like it's just about trying to understand that and how to project that energy in the real life. You know what I mean? So that's another thing.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I think too, you know, I think understanding as well that it doesn't, like, seeking help doesn't make you weak. If anything, it's the opposite. Like, makes you, you know, I think I look at it now of like recognizing that you need help is a sense of strength in a lot of ways, because it's like recognizing that like I don't have all the answers, right? I am imperfect. I am a work in progress. Like we come to this earth and we're a work in progress, and I truly believe we leave this earth as a work in progress. I don't think we're ever like, because you even see too like people that, you know, social media or society would deem as super successful, and there's some of the most just miserable people you'll find, and it's not because of what they've accomplished, like they either feel like alone, or they don't feel like people like understand them, or they don't, or if anything, they feel because of their status, they're not able to like showcase that I am, you know, I need help or anything. Like, again, it goes back to The Sopranos, right? It's like he was, you know, Tony Soprano, he refused to show that he was hurting or that he was suffering because of a perspective that he was trying to showcase to his community or to the world or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Not think of that as a scale of what that looks like for people that are, you know, quote unquote famous or successful in some regard or whatever. So it's definitely, you know, it's definitely a beautiful conversation that I think more people are having, which is great, and that it could continue to have. You know, I think a lot of these sentiments we're saying are have been said within the last few years, which is, I think, a beautiful thing. But you know, how do we then? I think the next question would be too, like, off of that, like, besides the people that won't take action on it, like, how do we channel these ideas to younger generations for them to maybe not, so like, I'm not saying make same mistakes that we might, but you know, how do we channel these sort of philosophical ideas to younger generations so that way they do act on, you know, these feelings when they need to, when they need help? I think that that's sort of the next, and I don't think I have the answers to that, even as somebody that was a teacher for a decade. You know, it's difficult. It's a difficult concept, but I think it's sort of the next thing to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that, like, it's kind of just like the way that it's the way that they see it. You know what I mean? Like, every generation is gonna see how the previous one reacted to something. So if, you know, like if someone's going to therapy and you're like, oh, that motherfucker's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have a stigma that goes with it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's going to therapy. Well, you just, you know what I mean? Like, it's the way that you kind of like talk about it. It's the way that you kind of think about it. So, I mean, that's one thing that we're trying to do. Obviously, I don't have all the answers, but like that's why we try to get a bunch of people like on the show that I know we have Nice Shadid, who has like, she has a she focuses on the kind of like the I forgot what it's called. It's not just going to therapy, but it's also like the group healing aspect.
She's talking about like going on walks and stuff like that. They got like group walks and stuff.
She has a whole calendar filled of just like things you can do with other people, get together, go for a walk, go do this, have the group therapy, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like things like that will like kind of change the stigma where it's like it's a group effort, you know what I mean? Like, all the people together, like, you know, it's no big deal. Like, yo, we all understand that we have our up times, we have our down times, like, and we know what our capacity is. So it's kind of just like talking about it, that I think can do a lot.
People get on Adderall and stuff like that, and then once you get off of it, you get into these depressive modes, these all these different perspectives that make you feel like either you want to kill yourself or self-hate or self-loathing. Just because it's a reaction of withdrawal from that medication. So like doing something.
Well, that is the other piece of it that you bring up a good point, Cheese, of like medication. So like when I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, that was the first thing I was given was like a drug, a pill. Here, take this once a day and you'll feel better. Yeah. And it really wasn't, and I think we see it almost, and maybe in this country it's a little different. I can't speak for other countries, but I think there's definitely other countries. I just had Jackson Whalen on the show, and we were talking a little bit about, he spent 3 months in India. And he was talking about the cultural difference of, you know, in America, we tend to feel like we need to suppress our spirituality or our religious ideas in America versus like you go to a place like India, it is just out there. It is there for you in the community, whether you act on it or not. People don't judge necessarily. It's just like, this is just what it is, how I feel, and like you kind of just go from there. Versus where we feel like this sort of sense of like, it's like a social, it's more of a social sense than it is, I think, cultural. But I think also at the same time, because America is a melting pot of so many different cultures, like it affects it. But, you know, to your point of the medication side, it's like really, it's difficult because yes, some of these medications can help, but you have to sort of look at it from the standpoint of, you know, why doctors are putting these medications on us in the first place. Like, again, not to like be super conspiracy on this whole thing, but like it's because of big pharma, and like that's kind of the reason why. Like, there's been studies done, like we were just saying a little off before we just turned back when the camera's back on, but like, you know, psychedelics, man. Like, I'll put it out there. I'm not a teacher anymore, so I don't really give a shit. I don't mind saying this anymore. I'm about to say it, bro. My the most spiritual moment I ever had, and that really helped me with my mental health more than anything, was doing a psychedelic mushroom trip. It was the second time I ever did it. And it wasn't like prescribed to me or anything like that. I didn't do it.
Can you get shrooms prescribed to you?
I don't believe so. No, you
just talking
I was
about
gonna say,
certain-
You can't. No, you
some
can't.
states, some states they do.
They're
like,
trying.
talking
I think
about
it's
in Oregon or
Colorado
something like
now is one of the first. Which Colorado's always been
Colorado.
ahead of the curve with. They were ahead of the curve on marijuana.
Yeah.
They're trying to get ahead of the
Yeah,
curve.
South Park.
that. South
Well, they're
Park.
trying to get ahead of the curve on psychedelics because I think like they're recognizing the value in it. Like there's a great documentary that Netflix did. The name of it's now escaping me. It's so great, but clearly I can't remember the name of it. But they talked about, you know, having some of these war veterans that had super bad PTSD, and they would do psychedelic drugs within like the refinements of like a medical space where it's like you're not like, hey, go here's shrooms, go out and do them. Like, no, we're gonna do them in a controlled environment. So that because you had said like, I would love to do them, but I don't want to jump out a window. It's like it's not it's not like that where like you do them in a specific place and you're able to, you know. And one guy had said he did DMT, 3 rounds of DMT. He said he's not had an episode for a PTSD episode since.
Wow.
And how important it was for him as a just for his quality of life going forward to do that. Because I think that what people like, unfortunately with psychedelics, I think people got, you know, it was just a bad marketing thing. It was just there was a huge misperception on psychedelic drugs and their effects. And I think what people don't recognize with it is like psychedelics are not supposed to be used where like you're out drinking and you're like, yo, you want to go do shrooms after? That's not how it's supposed to be used. And that's where people get the bad trips when they're trying to like, yo, I'm just trying to like have a good time. Like I don't really do ever really
It's more for like a reprogram thing.
Right.
yeah, it's supposed to be more of
Drugs
a
ain't
you
for
do
a
it
good
maybe
time.
once every 6 months or whatever the case is.
Right.
And it's you do it as more of a reset than you do as like a thing where it's like I'm trying to go get fucked up. Like it's not that's not the purpose of them. You will have a bad trip. Like anybody listen, any kids, whoever, like not kids, I don't suggest anybody under the age of 21 doing any sort of drugs, but like if you're in your young 20s and you're trying to experiment with different drugs or psychedelics, like that is not the time to do them. Is when you're out with friends trying to like have a good time. 100%. It's like, okay, like you have to have they said it best on the documentary. You have to have an intention of doing them. There needs to be some type of intention. What is that intention? And for me, I was going through a difficult time in my life, and I wanted some new perspectives on that, and it was very helpful for that. I feel like I walked away from that experience thinking, wow. You know, and it's kind of funny. You guys probably laugh at me, but you know, the first time I did them, I did the whole thing. I'm supposed to like sit in a dark room with like some cool. I had this like
Lights
they had these like space lights, and just threw on Kid Cudi. I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
I would have done that too. Yeah.
And I'm a half an hour in. I'm like, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to do. And instead, I sat out on so at the time where I was living, I had a big tree outside of my window, and I sat along my windowsill with a pad and paper, and I looked out, and I just was looking outside. And those were the moments that it really certain things started to hit me of like I'm looking at this tree and I'm like, wow, like it's gonna sound crazy, but all these branches that it has, it's almost like a community in itself of what makes this tree be a part of it. And then I was looking at the street and all these cars. I saw the cars like on the street. And I don't think I ever I'm not a huge car lover, but I've never hated cars more in my life. It really like gives you a different perspective of like you're looking at these cars like these are really like they just looked like to me in the moment huge hunks of metal that didn't serve like an actual like great purpose for the world. You're looking at this as like they almost seemed invasive. Of like there's only one tree I can see, but there's 10 cars on this street. Like that's not how it should be, you know. And there's certain things like I can go on and on, but there's like just certain ways in which I was looking at. It just changes your perspective. That's the best way I can put it.
You just like kind of sat there and kind of like appreciated the tree, and you kind of appreciated how much like technology is destroying the world.
Yeah, and again, like I don't think. But here's the crazy part: is like when I kind of came to, it's like I don't think technology is destroying the world. Maybe it goes back to another conversation we had earlier about. You know, that nothing's binary. And that's what I hate about I don't know I'm jumping around, but the political system drives me crazy because nothing about our lives are binary. There's always the gray area. Always. So the fact that we have to make this binary choice sucks. And nothing should be binary in our lives. You know what I mean? Like there always should be some semblance of a spectrum that we can figure out. And you know, so like, yes, there are negative aspects to technology. Totally agree. We've seen them. We've seen the effect, how it's affected our kids and how it's affected our own lives and our own perspectives, our own minds, and how it's really been a negative thing. But it also has been a beautiful thing too. Like there's been things out there that like, oh my God, like I was on, you know, my deathbed and I needed a new liver and and I was able to find a donor through social media or whatever it is, right? There's just so many beautiful moments that, you know, technology have helped us. I mean, my mom was adopted and she found her family through things like 23andMe and Facebook and all this stuff. Like found different family members. Like was able to find out her history. Like that's beautiful. Like she doesn't have that without the internet and without technology. So like from that standpoint, yes, it's a beautiful thing. But we've also seen it be a negative thing. We've seen things like how beautiful it is for my mom to find her family through Facebook. Through that same platform, Facebook has been known and proven to have started certain genocides. Being a catalyst for genocide. It's like so and then there's so much else in between right? So it's like Facebook's not bad and it's not good. It's just I don't know. I don't even know if I have a thing for it or like a specific word you could put on it. So I don't know. It's a long-winded way of saying.
Like fire's not bad. Fire's not good.
Fire can destroy and fire can bring you life.
You know what I mean?
Right. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot of different things in between there. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't. Nothing's truly binary, and us as people are not binary.
No.
We're not supposed to be just like. I think that's why I appreciate having people like you guys on the show, where it's like you don't like just one thing. No. You know what I mean? You're not boxed into just like, oh, I'm just a producer or I'm just an artist. I'm just an artist. Like, no, I'm a podcaster. I just getting off you. You seem very devoutly religious, which is amazing. And like, I'm not, but it's great that you are, and that's something that you care about. And you know, and it's so we're all there's so many layers to us as people. So, and I think unfortunately with social media and having some of these debates on social media, you only get that binary set.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. That's why, like, that's why a lot of folks, like, most of the time, politics, they tell you, like, when it's a Democrat or there's a Republican, you know, and there's like going at it on stage. Most of the time, like, they're cool with each other because they know the same donors, you know, because they don't see red, they don't see blue. It's all about green. Or they're, you know, Malcolm X said, like, you know, they're just two wings on the same bird. You know what I'm saying?
It's the truth.
Yeah, so it's like binary, like nuance is important because it helps you understand just like the climate of how the landscape or just like the board can always change, and how perception and people's minds always change. And you know, just like with the law of attraction, like once you make a decision or once you've discovered like another, like what is it called, like a threshold, everything else around you changes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can't expect to find a wife if you have 5 different side chicks on the side. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to make
that work.
No, you can't.
It's one particular religion that's making that work. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea.
It's nobody's cup.
I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah.
It's you're absolutely right. It's like I agree. No, this is cool. This is a good conversation. I'm glad that, you know, I'm glad I'm having it because it's, you know, you guys get it. And that's, I think what's beautiful about your guys' platform is that you guys are actively wanting to have those types of conversations. You welcome them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't want to welcome them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You guys, you want to have different, I love what you guys' point of having different perspectives on your show. Like, that's fantastic.
I've had people get, like, really angry at me because, like, I remember we were talking about like submissiveness or like women being submissive, but like, you know, the idea was like people were getting mad at me because like I wasn't preaching their point of view, like because we just like, all right, well, like we have people just come in and talk their whatever they want to talk about, but people have gotten mad at us because they're like, no, you're not telling people what to think. Like that's not what we're here for. Like we're here for people to come through and have conversations, and people like, hey, that felt like therapy to us. Like, you know what I mean? I'm here to just like say what's on my mind and talk to people who may agree with me, may not agree with me, and like we just talk. You know what I mean?
And who wants to be told what to think? Seriously? You want to be told what to think?
Some people do.
Some people
Some
do,
people
which
do.
is
Some people
sad.
think it should be a box. A lot of people think that, if you're not in a group, then what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you don't categorize yourself, then like, how can you ever focus? Like,
Yeah.
but in real life, like, it's a lot of levels to life. There's a lot of dimensions, you know. So
It's beautiful to have different experiences with different groups of people. Like that's I think a part of this life. We're supposed to, not, because I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but I feel like just some people that I grew up with felt like that's all they wanted. So like they went off to college and they didn't really make new friends. They just hung out with those same friends because they all went to the same college, and then they came home and stayed in the same town forever. It's like you don't want to experience anything else, even like a couple towns over. Like you don't want to you don't want to experience anything else, and like whatever, that's their decision to make. That's fine. I just don't subscribe to that. Even when I was in high school, dude, like I didn't have like a group, and I think that was almost to my own detriment, because like at least when I was in high school, because everyone would, on a Friday night, everyone was going to hang out in their groups, and like every once in a while I'd jump from, maybe I'd hang out with this group for a while and maybe this other one.
Who were you with, like the nerds or with the? I mean,
it's funny,
my graduating class was 50, and I went from them from like second grade to high school, so I don't.
Yeah,
I didn't have like.
it was funny because I was nerdy, but I was also an athlete.
Nice.
So like I could kind of play both. Like I could hang out with nerds because I liked books and I liked music and I liked, I was super, like I, did well in school and I liked being, on that side of things. But I was also an athlete, and I was just naturally around athletes.
Jock hybrid.
Yeah.
that's okay.
But believe it or not, it actually, you would think like, oh, he just got along with everybody, which is the truth. But I actually felt pretty lonely in high school because I couldn't really find like
Me too.
I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
This is like
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a weird
Right.
thing of like, and I know anyone from my high school that's maybe listening to this was like, that's not true, and like you were well liked, and like, or for the most part, and like, yeah, that's the truth. Like I was well liked. I had a lot of people that like.
But you didn't feel like fully accepted by.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
Or maybe like.
I felt accepted by people, but I didn't necessarily like, not enough to the point where like, all right, you're good, like you're with us. Like it just was not much, and I think at that moment and that time, I felt some type of way about that. Looking back on it now, I actually think it was a good thing, because I was allowed, like when I went to Framingham State, and that was such a melting pot.
I was born in Framingham, by the way.
Yeah, no, I loved Framingham. I loved Framingham for that
Yeah.
reason, because it was such a melting pot of different people. I mean, I grew up in a suburb around here that was 97% Caucasian.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, not really. Because it's like, it was much better to go to a school where it's like, oh, cool. Like, I'm in this class right now, and I got a couple of black people, a couple Asian, a couple Hispanic, a couple Caucasian, like how I grew up, or, and then that was just really cool. Like that, people that were on different spectrums of sexuality and gender, like that was cool for me. Like, I felt like I really grew in those years more than any other year of my life because of that. Because I was able to be around different types of people. And that was, like, how did you grow up? Oh, that's really interesting. Like, I was never around someone like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I was growing up. And that was really cool for me. So,
No, that makes sense.
I think getting out there and seeing, like you said, not having, like, a singular experience, like, being able to experience other people. And, like, and then it's a beautiful thing about learning about other cultures. It's like, that's a beautiful fucking thing, man. Like, we gotta like not lose that part of it,
Right.
And then, like you said, maybe understanding each other a little bit more too. Like, just because we don't agree, that's fine. But like, can we at least come to some type of understanding? Can I learn about what you go through, what you've been through on a daily basis, or in your past life, and or that to me, I think is more important than, I think that's what when we're sort of in our later years, I think that's the stuff to look back on rather than like, anything else. I don't know.
Yeah,
100%.
because it's all about wisdom too. Because it's like
Spreading.
we're not gonna be here forever. We're not destined to be here forever.
Blip on the
what
radar.
we leave behind is impact. What we leave behind is influence, and from that we can be able. That could be the gift that we leave behind for everybody to be able to pick up.
Yeah.
And just know that like there's reason, and then there's reason is just the bridge that helps convey different parties together to the sense of like, okay, this is how things work on your end, and this is how things work on my end. there's actually this can actually be cohesive. This can be something that can coexist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that.
Right.
Yeah.
Why can't we all just coexist?
We can. It's the problem is there's people who question why should they coexist, or question why all this. No, because you know how America is just like this mixed pot. You know, Boston is a mixed pot, especially.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally,
what I'm saying?
Boston for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like there's no gatekeepers to this. Like there's literally no rule book to this. Like everybody is just doing what they love and they know how to do it to the best efficient way possible. So yeah.
I was thinking about that, and this actually makes me think about we had a religious panel.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
We brought people with different religions. It was actually super Christian. We had mostly Christian people there.
Okay.
Some people who were I think one person was atheist. One person said they were a Satanist.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No pun intended. That's crazy.
Some people who were kind of like we're just spiritual, and then one person who was
Muslim.
a Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was like Islam and Christianity from the way that they were talking. Like I was like, oh, I could see how the Crusades happened. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't know if these people could coexist. Even though like in Islam they believe like Jesus is a prophet and et cetera, but like from the biblical canon, Muhammad's not in there, and I don't know. We were just talking about like coexisting, but like I see like for some things it just doesn't seem super plausible.
Yeah.
I think we can coexist because all of it is just energy. All of us are energy sources, and we just got to look at each other like that. When you come into the room, you are aura. You're taking up space. Believe it or not, just being a person creates a chemical reaction just by making an entrance or contact with anybody else,
or just by like communicating with somebody, like the type of pheromones that you create. That when you're actually talking to somebody that you're excited to see, you know what I'm saying? Dogs can really sense that too, you know what I'm saying? Like just like the pheromones that you create when you're sad, when you're emotional. Like people can be able to see that because we're very expressive.
Body language, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With body language and also just like with like verbally too, or non-verbally. But it's that's just how we're able to paint. Well, not paint.
You can say paint because life is like a canvas, bro. For real, like you have full control over this. Whatever you put out into this world is what you and your spirit and your intuition put out. You know, you gotta. I was watching The Penguin yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I gotta watch that.
This is crazy.
Good, yeah.
Good, it's good. It was. I don't wanna.
Yeah, don't spoil it. I haven't started it yet.
I ain't gonna spoil it.
Big Batman guy myself.
Shout out Colin Farrell, man. That's
crazy.
His mom recorrected him when he was like about to flee the city type shit, and like she told him like this is what you wanted. Like you wanted the city, like like that was the whole. That's the whole front. What I'm trying to say, like when you hear and you love whatever you love, and you want that for yourself, that's what you manifesting. And a lot of people sometimes they get in that space and they like, oh, they feel some type of imposter syndrome, whatever. But like, God wants you to be in that. Your spirit wants you to be in that and be true in it. So that's the real shit right there.
Yeah. And you met him when he was on his way out. His name's Cam. I'll leave you guys with this. It's we talk about it often where it's like as long as you stay true to like your own passions and what you want, like a lot of the times the universe will work out the details, and it's happened. Yeah. And I'm not incredibly religious, but like I'm more spiritual. And I believe in higher power. I just don't quite know like what it is or what it means, and that's fine.
I'm mostly a spiritual person myself too.
Oh, okay.
I just like to use that term God because most people can relate with that instead of saying spirit, instead of saying intuition, instead of saying those vocabulary
Gotcha.
words, I just use.
See, I assumed way too
Use
much.
God,
So there you go.
yeah.
See, that's a good lesson for you guys to learn. Don't assume too much about people you meet. You just mentioned God a couple of times, so I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
I can always key to the Bible too,
Yeah.
because I like to do research.
Fair enough. I love that. But again, I just think that, you know, if you stay true to like what you're meant to be doing, it kind of works out. Like a lot of times, it works out the details. Like he just was in. Put it this way, there's a situation that, you know, he was just kind of in the right place at the right time, and he was about to give up on something, and then he was put in a situation that he's not supposed to give up on it, and hopefully it's going to flourish, and that's a beautiful thing. And you know, I think that as long as you do stay true to those things, I think it's like, yeah, tends to work itself out in some way, shape, or form. It's just as long as you stay on the path, so, which is pretty cool. Yeah, even for me, like I said, I left my teaching job about 3 months ago, and I was scared. Not gonna lie, like I was excited about it because I knew that like there was something else out there for me. It would obviously with everything going on here, but like there was definitely a fear there of like how is this all gonna work out? And believe it, and it's starting to sort of like work itself out. And that was, you know, without me taking that chance, like I never probably would have known for sure. So it's nice to know that was the right move. And you know, even if I didn't maybe feel it in the time of like how it was gonna go or like what the logistics were gonna be of that situation. It's like just the belief in that alone.
Yeah.
And then like how opportunities just kind of happened.
Took the masculine route.
Kind of
I
weird.
love that.
Yeah, it was kind of
Took the
strange.
I
masculine
can
route.
definitely relate to that because last year I decided to go back to school. I wanted to be a medical assistant, so I went to Lincoln Tech, all the way in Somerville, and I was there, and I had to learn a lot of things. And I was able to make it into my internship, and I went to the urology department at Beth Israel, all the way in Brighton, I believe, and I was almost like done with my whole course and everything, and I just decided like I got out of bed and I went back because I just felt like I was drained. I felt like I couldn't go further, and I felt very I had so much regret because I felt like this was the first time in my life I felt like, damn, like I really felt like a setback. And I was talking to a lot of my friends, and they would tell me like, yo, things like these happen. Sometimes in life, you figure out that what you thought was for you, what you thought was going to work out for you, sometimes it doesn't work out, and it's okay. Things fall apart. It's all about what you're gonna do next, you know. And like I said, like I was scared too, you know what I mean, because I didn't want to let my parents down, you know, because, you know, sometimes like in the back of our heads, we always want to make our parents proud. Like we want to give them something to where it's like, yo, my son did this, my son did that, you know what I mean? And that's what every parent, that's the dream. That's like the wet dream, you know. And I did, and it's like I
was like, did I hear that?
maybe
right?
that's the wrong term.
That
I
is
used.
definitely the wrong term.
Okay, it's okay. Oh, my son's a doctor. Oh my god.
Did I hear that right? I was like, did he say wet dream? Not the right terminology.
No, not wet dream. But
Andrew's
that's
talking
just,
about his parents, yo.
that's just no. Stop.
I quit. It's over. Wrap it up. Get the car running.
You were on something so profound too, and then
But other than that, what I'm trying to say is, you know, this is something achievement that I wanted to present to my parents, you know, because it's school, like it's hard, and there's so much hardships that you got to deal with, especially with as an MA, you know, understanding just like I don't want to get into it, but I figured like, yeah, like I had to accept it, and I had to pick myself back up and recalculate myself. Like, all right, what else? If I were to go back to school, what else do I think I would excel in? And I thought, all right, I want to do psychology. So once when I'm ready, I'll definitely want to try it again. You know, get my my bachelor's, you know, or get my associates. Don't really matter, because I want to be able to get that, and it's like, yo, I did this, you know, and I didn't need no help from nobody, you know.
Nice.
That's you know,
it's a beautiful sentiment. I think it's a great great piece of advice for people to leave is just like pursue, like go off of what you feel and pursue what you think is best for you, even no matter what the outside forces or people might be telling you. And if you have a wet dream about your parents, go seek therapy.
Which I'm gonna do. Just kidding.
Well, it's been a beautiful episode, guys. I really appreciate not only you most coming through, but Cheese and Tatas, the cheesy Tatas, having the cheesy Tatas here as well. Show and Tell Boston. Make sure you guys follow them and check out what they got going on. They have a pretty cool platform, and these are just 3 of the members of that. So, any last things you guys want to do? Shout out where people can find you. Plug away. Most will start with you.
Yeah, you can find me on my new Instagram. That's _ most generous 95. You can also find my music on all platforms. That's MOS space GENEROUS. You can also find some of my content on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and also you can find The Groovement. That's well, actually, our Instagram got took it out, but you can find our YouTube on DA space GRUVEMENT. That's The Groovement. And you can also follow Show and Tell Boston on Instagram. That's Show and Tell Boston.
Oh, I'm your boy Cheese. You can follow me on Instagram at @thegod_cheesy. I'm doing art, doing all kind of stuff on there. Just look for me.
Again, just follow Show and Tell Boston. We're always looking for people who want to pitch ideas, pitch panels. So if you have like a topic or a thing that you think we should have, come pitch it to us. Come talk to us. We'd love to have you on. We look for guests all the time.
Cool. And if you're a fan of these guys just being introduced to us for the first time, you can follow us at Turntable Teachers on Instagram and TikTok. Hit up our website, turntableteachers.com, for all the latest. And as always, if you're an artist, podcaster, or content creator of any kind, make sure to reach out to us at awaystudios.org to book your session or service today. Once again, Mos, Cheese, Tatas, thanks so much, guys, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, man. No, this is great. Hopefully we'll collaborate again very soon.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
But as always, I'm Mike. This is the Show and Tell guys, and that we're the Turntable Teachers, and class is officially dismissed.
Turn.